This video is based on a letter I recently sent to a former FBI agent who was investigating me during my hacker days. He left the FBI around 15 years ago and is now a rabbi. Sadly, I can't even get a rabbi, a person whose whole job is believing in God, to believe my story, let alone any of you. But this all truly happened. I'm living in a town full of shape-shifting, baby-eating, fallen angels who are seriously planning to sacrifice me for exposing the truth. This is the beginning of the Book of Revelation. About 6 years ago, I was investigating the murder of a young girl in Erie, PA. It was a clear cover-up, but my search led me to something unreal. A 14-foot tall, white-skinned giant. The thing communicated with me telepathically, calling itself the enemy of mankind, and claimed it was going to start a nuclear war. I'm convinced that was Azazel, Og of Bashan, or maybe even Cain himself, Lucifer's son, born from raping Eve in the garden. Cain and Abel were twins, born through superfraternation. Same mother, two different fathers. Adam was the other. Now, I know this all sounds insane, but it gets worse. According to scripture, God had Raphael cast Azazel into Dudael, a sort of black mirror that was then thrown into space. If you've seen Superman 2, it's basically the same deal. General Zod represents Og, and Superman is Michael the Archangel. Here's the kicker. The real space race wasn't about technology. It was a competition between American and Russian occultists to see who could free the leader of the forces of evil first. And of course, America won. NASA itself was founded by Jack Parsons, a Satanist. He and L. Ron Hubbard used a Crowleyan ritual out in the desert, complete with child sacrifices and sex magic, to summon the whore of Babylon into a little girl's body. This is all out there, in books. Parsons admitted it. NASA's very name is a cruel joke. Occultists pronounce it Nasha, which is Hebrew for to deceive. But it goes deeper. After that encounter with the giant, I tried to ignore it. But later, when I was investigating Isaac Cappy's death and skinwalkers near Flagstaff and Sedona, things got even stranger. Navajo people were following me, warning me that if I didn't keep my mouth shut, I'd be a human sacrifice. An elder told me there was a satanic cult watching me, and that many native elders had sold their souls to Satan, using left-hand path Kabbalah to summon demons. One night a Navajo guy came down from the mountain, poked me with a coop stick, then pressed a knife against my ribs. I grabbed the blade and told him to go ahead and do it. That spooked him enough to back off. The elder told me I was being marked for sacrifice to Moloch on Halloween, so I got the hell out of there and took a train to San Francisco. But things got crazier in San Francisco. I had people following me around, chanting Satan is God now, and nothing can stop Azazel. They said I'd be raped by demons for exposing Mystery Babylon. Then, one day, at a bus stop, this guy who looked exactly like Jaime Lannister from Game of Thrones comes up to me. He says he raises Cain Corsos, emphasizing the Cain part, and brags about killing Abel with a stone. I joked that he used the jawbone of an ass fashioned into an axe, and he went ballistic. He asked me if I was Azathoth, a name occultists have tied to Enoch or Metatron. Things just kept getting more bizarre, with him rambling about the Koch brothers taking over the world and trying to lure me onto a yacht. My gut told me it was trouble, so I didn't go. These things can shapeshift, so I'm assuming the guy who played Jaime Lannister on Game of Thrones was one of the characters, being played by Cain, the Devil King of the Earth. This craziness never stopped. Occultists use coded language they call witch speak. Jaime Lannister turns into J'aime l'âme is terre, meaning I love the Lam Tyr, cruelly communicated with an entity called Lam, which looks exactly like gray aliens. They aren't aliens, they're fallen angels. God cursed the fallen ones, making them hideous, but they use human blood and pineal glands to use glamour magic to change their appearance. I know it sounds insane, but this is all documented in ancient Hebrew texts. The Zohar, esoteric midrash, and Hermetic works. It's real. Enoch was the real author of the Emerald Tablets of Thoth, a supposed forgery, but is absolutely real. It warned that all of this would happen. It is, once again, as in the days of Noah. While still in San Francisco, one night at an Amtrak station, I saw something 15-20 feet tall, looking as if it was made of oil or raw sewage, slinking along the tracks. Each light it passed flickered out. It stopped and stared at me before vanishing. A random guy walking by laughed and said, "You think you're so smart figuring out our plan?" I knew I had to get out of that town. I took a bus, where I saw a man literally teleport. Another passenger laughed and said, "We have powers beyond your understanding." The bus was packed with Mexicans trafficking drug kids, no doubt for ritual sacrifices to Moloch. The most valuable kids they target? Hebrew children. I saw hundreds of kids being loaded into semi-trucks marked Covenant Transport near Albuquerque. I tried to film it, and I ended up stabbed and left for dead. I woke up in a pool of blood, walked 10 miles to a hospital. While being stitched up, the doctor started talking about demons giving mankind secret knowledge and how he doesn't like politics. The nurse started going off about worshiping Satan and bragging about how demons have huge cocks. It was madness. They took me to another room and posted me up across this other room where a Mexican guy was raping a little black girl. Another nurse comes in, basically foaming at the mouth, and says, "That is a real demon." As I stood staring, it had these shadow tendrils coming out of its body like some sort of squid. They were hugging the floor and walls and undulating like an undersea creature. They were demons from the Kulaphoth and the dark mirror of the Sephiroth. These idiots have been summoning fucking demons for decades. Probably longer. They are farming babies all over the world now and eating them. Engaging in the sickest ritual sex magic, deliberately turning people away from God. The list of their sins is longer than 100 Bibles, and I just cannot wrap my head around how any perfect being could be capable of such cruelty against a race of half-retarded meat-sack apes. After seeing them kids, I called the FBI from a burner phone. I didn't give my name, but when I mentioned the kids, the agent said, "We know, Jason," and laughed. I hung up. Seems like our government is well aware of what is happening and fully in league with the devil. Figures. The Star Spangles lie, right? It makes sense considering the American flag is based on the same pattern that Nimrod wore on his goddamn cape. Everything is a lie. America has always been the bad guy, whether you like it or not. I've spent the last few years back in Pennsylvania trying to recover, but the things I've uncovered here are worse. Growing up, I'd heard rumors of satanic rituals in the gravel pit here in Sugar Grove, PA. One guy at a bar told me I was conceived during a satanic orgy where my dad sacrificed a goat, took its severed head and put it over his own, and impregnated my mother. I don't know if it's true, considering a DNA test I did on her hair secretly showed I'm not related to the woman I've known as my mother. I have no idea who I am anymore. I believe I was kidnapped by the Catholic Church, and am really descended from some ancient Hebrew bloodline. Did you know the word Catholic really means Babylon? that the Vatican is named after a demonic whore named Vatica that traces all the way back to Lilith. This explains why my grandparents used to fly to Italy to visit the Pope all the time when I was a fucking kid. But still does not explain who the hell I am. Why would anyone go through so much trouble to ruin my life? Who the hell am I? Since I've been back, people I've known my entire life have told me I'm marked for sacrifice, that the entire Hebrew race is going to be killed off. They've said my dad is some sort of high-ranking Babylonian wizard and a cannibal. When confronted, my dad flat out admitted that this entire area is full of Nazis' witches that eat children. He even told me that he fed me children while I was growing up. I mean, what the literal fuck, man? I know my dad has a sick sense of humor, but he never used to say stuff like that to me. It sounds crazy, but this is what's been happening. Sugar Grove, PA, is where the descendants of the Babylonian royal family ended up. It's the heart of Mystery Babylon. This is where the 200 fallen angels who rebelled against God are executing their plan to take over the world and wipe the Hebrew people off the face of the earth. My family are all part of it, and I cannot get a single fucking rabbi or priest or pastor to listen to me. It's like everyone does not really believe in God anymore, or they think Satan is God and are just pretending to be faithful. It sickens me. My best friend of 35 years recently told me he works for the CIA and that my entire life has been a carefully scripted lie, and that I am slated to be a human sacrifice offering to Azazel in the coming week. His family owns a big motocross track around here. They just installed a human-sized cross a few months back. I asked him why, and he said, "It's for you, bro." Yeah, well, we will see about that, Doug. I ain't going out like that. I'm not Christ. I figure I might be one of the two witnesses, or a minor prophet. But beyond that, I cannot explain why this death cult went out of their way to ruin my entire life. I don't know if you're one of these synagogue of Satan false Jews or not, but if you aren't, I needed someone to hear this. One rabbi in Erie believed me. He shut down his temple, and his congregation moved to an old nuclear bomb shelter in the mountains of Colorado. He was Messianic rabbi. The Nephilim giants are back and they're out for blood. I tried warning Mossad, but no one replies. Maybe they're in on it too. Maybe everyone's rebelling against God. The Hebrew people are in danger, and someone needs to listen. These sick fucking giants intend on starting a nuclear war, and soon. I don't have proof. It isn't like these things ever let me film them. The only time I did manage to get them on camera, I ended up stabbed half a dozen times and left for dead in the desert out in New Mexico. However, you can Google the Joe Biden-Jimmy Carter photo. That is an official White House photo. Joe Biden is a fucking Nephilim shapeshifter. So isn't his wife. We put a fucking devil in the Oval Office. Finally, that particle accelerator CERN, that thing is a sentient machine god. A synthetic Merkaba, occultists call them. Nimrod built one long ago, and that prompted God to confound the languages, hence the need for Babylon, to create all these code languages, to communicate their plans to one another. It may seem like CERN is merely a hub for particle physics, but that's just a facade. They've been engaging in rituals, including a human sacrifice filmed at the Shiva statue on their grounds. Shiva is the Hindu god of death. Why the hell is there a statue to a demon death god there? They're actively opening portals to the other side, attempting to summon forces beyond our comprehension. The Large Hadron Collider is not just a particle accelerator, it's a gateway to the abyss. The entire facility is designed to resemble 666, not just in its logo, but in its very structure. When they smashed particles together in 2012, it wasn't simply about discovering the Higgs boson. They effectively tore the veil between dimensions. CERN is not just playing with fire. They are inviting Azazel and his legions back into our world. The evidence is chilling. There's a video of the opening ceremony that is nearly impossible to find online now, revealing it as 3 hours of Babylonian pagan demon worship garbage. This isn't mere coincidence. It's an orchestrated attempt to awaken ancient evils. Prominent physicist Michio Kaku recently described CERN as a modern Tower of Babel, highlighting its role in humanity's hubris in attempting to reach beyond the divine. In a similar vein, Jeff Bezos referred to his new Amazon HQ as his own private Tower of Babel, a vertical spiral structure that doubles as a particle accelerator. Furthermore, consider this. Witch hats resemble inverted black holes, complete with an event horizon. This connection is no accident. Witches tap into the same cosmic energy that God used to create the world, drawing from the very essence of black holes. This is why a witch's hat looks like a black hole. It's a symbol of their ability to access profound, untapped power. The consequences of CERN's reckless experimentation are already manifesting globally. You may have noticed people acting strangely, experiencing bizarre phenomena, or hearing voices that shouldn't be there. This is due to the thinning veil between realities. CERN has cracked it open, allowing entities from the other side to slip through. What some call the Mandela effect is not merely a quirk of memory, it's a distortion of reality itself. I've witnessed things I never thought possible. After encountering that giant in Erie, I began to notice glitches in reality. People disappearing for a moment only to reappear. Conversations shifting as if two realities were colliding. I am convinced that CERN is meddling with forces they cannot hope to control, and soon it will be too late to stop the chaos they have unleashed. I also have reason to believe that the entity known as Ein Sof has been trapped inside CERN, and that is the real God particle they have been searching for. Think of Ein Sof as a paintbrush in the hands of the painter, God. However, I don't expect God to be so easily fooled, and this could merely have been a bit of subterfuge conducted by the Creator to convince these monsters that they are going to win. CERN has to be destroyed. Our entire civilization is going to be destroyed if we do not do something to stop this bullshit. We cannot allow Satan to win. Or the future is basically the entire world is destroyed in nuclear fire. I had visions of it off and on the last few years. It looks like a hologram appearing floating in the middle of the room. It is a total mind fuck, to say the least. I have nightmares about these visions constantly. Anyways, you likely did not even bother watching this, and I don't blame you. These cultists did tell me no one will believe you until it is far too late. And I guess they are right. Christ said, "My people fail for lack of knowledge." He wasn't kidding. If you manage to sit through this entire thing, one final word of advice. These fallen giants seem to be vulnerable to human urine. It burns their skin like acid, according to the gematria readings I have gotten in the last few weeks. Additionally, research into occult demon hunting books claim that weapons coated with precious metals can hurt them. I also have surmised powerful magnets, certain sound frequencies, and high-power lasers can also harm them. When they are solid, cutting their head off should do the trick. If you want to risk it, you can gain their power by eating their pineal gland and drinking their blood and spinal fluid. Though I am not sure if this will make you part of this satanic hive mind or not. So do that at your own risk. Be ready, people. This is the end of the world. Share this video if you want to do God a favor. He needs the help. And to all you shills watching this, whatever happens to the Avatar is going to be your final fate on loop forever. This the last rodeo for the clowns.